that map was enemies to win all the way along. I want to give a massive amount of credit and respect to the way in which Winterfox actually came back in and held their poise. Anger in particular went ballistic in that second half, but enemy by all rights should have won that match. They won the first half 11-4. They won the second half pistol, and yet they found themselves in overtime.
Yeah, well, not so much enemies to win, but enemies to lose, because they really led from the front in all aspects of the game. I mean, it was just some T-side indecision, really, and a series of T-side indecisions that led them to fall behind in the second half of that match. And look, they showed that they were strong. They were able to eventually get... it was only one T-side round that they needed in that overtime. Their CT side was strong enough to comprehensively shut out anything Winterfox threw at them, even in the sense that Winterfox completely changed their T-side approach and went for the faster stuff, which just simply meant some quick overtime rounds and some decisive shutouts.
I must admit, though, it is a worrying sign for me given the format of this competition in particular. I think in a BO3, perhaps you can afford that sort of brain fade, as I'd like to refer to it, where you lose a match that you should ordinarily win. In a BO2, though, where there's a premium placed on winning, you must win to get maximum points every series 2-0. We saw in Australia a lot of teams were coming away with those 2-0 results, and in the end we saw Immunity quite convincingly earn their trip overseas. You can't afford to be having those off nights or off games or off halves, as we saw from Enemy, given the format of the competition. So it's fortunate for them that they turned it around, but they need to be really switched on to that threat, I think, as they move on in this competition.
Yeah, definitely, and that was their map pick. So, I mean, Winterfox can feel pretty good about themselves, I think, going in as a pretty big underdog, given the form that this Enemy team's in, and Enemy getting their choice of maps to start off the series, which, as you said yesterday, Nick, in our coverage of the other Enemy game, statistically speaking, the team in the American CounterPit we've seen so far, the team who's won the first map hasn't necessarily won the second map.
Of course, just to clarify, we're talking about when the season first got underway. Of course, they've since started afresh, but in those first few games that we did have the opportunity to cast your spot on.
Yeah, so a lot of 1-1s coming out in this best of two in the NA scene. And I think that that's a testament to the fact that American teams generally will look at it on a map-by-map basis. They think to themselves, well, that was their pick, or, you know, it's a completely different map. We can start from scratch, and they've shown a lot of mental resilience. So Winterfox might not obviously be thrilled that they lost that game, being in a position to win. Particularly someone like Anger, who did so much work for them and carried them so far into that game. When you have that sort of performance and you lose, sometimes it's hard to bounce back, and he'll need to be on his A game on Inferno.
It's important to really understand and stress when we talk about this trend, at least from what we've seen. Obviously, we're from Australia, but we're doing our best to bring you the American CounterPit coverage. But when we're talking about these 1-all series draws, that's giving massive props to the team that actually lost the first map. It's not necessarily saying a team is choking or losing after having won that first map. No, it's complete opposite. It's giving so much props and credit to a team which is able to put that loss behind them and to bounce back on the second map and come away with the win. And really, that fortitude that you speak of, Jim, it's really a great sign for a team.
It really is, as you said. It's full credit to the team that does overcome that deficit, particularly if the maps aren't their picks either. I mean, we've seen teams win their map picks quite convincingly, funnily enough. But yeah, it's just a sign that some of these teams do have that mental fortitude to get themselves back in the match. And from then on in, the results show. So, but that being said, the BO2 system does really place a premium on winning. So it rewards the teams that are the strongest.
Most definitely. I mean, over the course of the season, each team, given that it's a 5-team group, will be playing 4 BO2s. So that's 8 matches in which to strut their stuff and show which team deserves most to represent the region over at the LAN finals in March, in only what feels like a couple of months' time. And earlier, when we were casting the Australian CounterPit season, that was at the end of last year, we could just throw the tagline, the LAN finals next year. Well, in this instance, it's LAN finals coming up in only a matter of weeks, potentially 6 or 7 weeks. So there's so much to play for these guys, and the opportunity is very tangible and very real when you're talking about the fact that it's only around the corner for them. When we move on to Inferno, though, Jim, what are the key talking points in terms of the map and the structure and how the teams will approach it in regards to their play style?
Yeah, definitely. Look, we touched on it earlier with just particular reference to some of the star players for each team, namely Kusta from Enemy. We spoke about how his AWPing was going to change, going from a more open map that allowed AWPers the freedom to roam everywhere and really have an impact to a map like Inferno. We actually made reference to the fact that his AWPing style is quite comfortable in those close situations. In fact, he's actually a lot stronger with the AWP and in those closer quarter situations that Inferno allows. So I'd be very, very cautious approaching this map with Kusta on that CT side, because he's going to be able to change up his position a lot, and I think that's something that Winterfox might have trouble reading later in these stages. But I certainly think if Anger continues his form from that first map, we could be in for a little bit of a ride here. I do believe we've actually seen Winterfox play Inferno and do quite well on it quite recently too, though. So
Yeah, they did take down Optic in the semi-final of the MLG Last Chance qualifier. Obviously, Optic, another team in a similar sort of vein that has a lot of support, has all that structure in place, but hasn't got the results that perhaps the community or themselves would have expected. But they do have a good track record. Enemy, by the same token, Pete, they're coming off a win 16-9 on Inferno against Splice in the grand final of the MLG American Minor Championship. So both teams have that good history, good fond memories of the map. So nothing really to fault in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, with Kusa especially, it's not just that he's the star player of the team, but I think you'll find that the way that, and certainly Mainline's been very open about this in the way that he structures the team, it's very rigid, and a lot of emphasis is placed on him getting a lot of kills. So in games, when there are games like this on Inferno, you really need to be able to convert the player like Kusta and use him properly. And from the looks of the last 2 days, and we've seen such a large amount of CS from Kusta over the sort of last couple of weeks where he's been very good. It's important to sort of put his AWP style in context, because there are definitely different styles of AWPers and different ways to utilize the weapon, and it works differently for different individuals. But for me, I've noticed him with a particular strength for that close to mid-range game with the AWP, whereas I've seen him miss a lot of long-range shots. Not a lot, so when I'm saying a lot, he's still a world-class AWPer, he's still a fantastic talent, so when I say he's missing a lot of shots, maybe he's hitting, 6 out of 10 of those long-range ones, whereas I think he's hitting about 8 out of 10 of the short-range ones, so it's Inferno's a map that's tailor-made to let him succeed.
The parallel that I draw, not necessarily in skill, I want to be clear, but in terms of game style that Pete speaks of, another well-known AWPer that a lot of people could relate to would be Simple. He's another player in which I'd suggest is very good in those close quarters, those sort of move-in material sort of circumstances in which they go absolutely ballistic, pulling off no-scopes, pulling off quick scopes when they ordinarily shouldn't. The difficulty, though, with that style, Pete, which I'd point out would be that whilst it lends itself perhaps to getting these sick frags, getting a lot of frags at close quarters that look amazing, they also tend to find themselves dying quite a lot. So if you look at the scoreboard at the end of a match, they might have a lot of frags, but they also have a lot of deaths. Now, the difficulty, and the reason I bring this up, is it puts a lot of financial strain on a team being able to necessarily support an AWPer with that playstyle.
I think the most important part for me, to nullify that's definitely an issue with any aggressive AWPer. It's at such a big investment of 4,750 and only a $50 kill reward. So there's such an emphasis placed on keeping that gun up, but more to I guess that sort of style of AWPing being a problem. If you know that that's your style, you then need to make sure the supporting cast understand that around you and pick up that AWP and be in a position where even if you die, they pick up that AWP and are able to get it to you the next round and keep that AWP in play for as long as possible. But right now, a very important knife round coming out for Winterfox and Enemy GG. Both teams obviously desperate to get on that CT side, and after having both such successful CT sides on the overpass map, both teams looking to start there, but it will be Winterfox coming away with that knife round, and Lex and XP3 both spam stay, so they're pretty keen to get on the CT side and start this one off.
That's exactly right, and the teams will be going and vying for that CT side because they're not coming into this match cold at all. I mean, that last map took 2 hours, and these guys are certainly well versed, obviously, in the Counter-Strike swing of things, so they'll be keen to get things underway and really keen to assert their dominance on this CT side and make Enemy chase this game.
Yeah, key thing to look out for as we move into this pistol, Pete, is we know that Winterfox don't necessarily like to play with much aggression, but on Inferno, it's a map that really caters to aggression, so I want to see if they go aggro banana, I want to see if they go aggro mid. We'll see how they fare.
Well, XP3 seems pretty keen on picking that second mid choke point, and he'll spot one out, but not before he falls back and gets into a better position. But Flowsick's going to be on here to try and do big amounts of damage, and he'll let one pass and actually cop a headshot there from Mainline. So he's gone down to just 3 points of health. And now we see Enemy going into that holding pattern, just waiting for Winterfox to make the first move and expose maybe a free kill or an opportunity to trade. And as We get vision of Uber just making its way back towards Carpets. I think they're still pretty content on hitting this A side of the map. And that's not a bad option given there's still 2 CTs at B, but now the jungle side of things will come into play and they'll move the bomb up mid. Uber once again spotting and he gets a double! The 2 Winterfox players lining up XP3 and Floysick gets taken down into probably 1 bullet, but maybe 2. And it's going to be on Anger to try and make his way back into this A bomb side and wrestle some control back from enemy. But at the moment, it's a 5 versus 3 and mainline headshots Desi through the smoke. And this is what enemy GGCS is all about. The aggression and the aim power that is associated with their lineup as Relix takes out Lex. And now Lex is left in a 4 versus 1.
And he's gone. But look, not a lot Anger could do from that position. They simply had too strong a post plant, given that he was stuck in what we love to call in Australia diggity.
I just want to point out though as well, I mean, like you said, great read there, I like the fact that they went AP, but I think a big factor there for Winterfox in not being able to stop that A attack, apart from the, the double kills and the shots through smoke, those sort of, everyday occurrences, was the fact that Lex had no information at B. He was holed in the back of the site, Desi had to support him at B, not knowing if an attack was on the cards there, and it meant that Winterfox only had 3 members, as we see Desi with a sick 1B off the back of his flash there. But yeah, it's key to have that information. That's what we always talk about, playing the info game. But Pete, another eco round going the way of the less equipped team.
Hashtag NACS is unfolding right before our very eyes as yet again we see enemy GG go down to another eco round and cause not only ourselves but fans of enemy GG everywhere to just sit back and wonder what could have been as they buy up these guns and get
fans
decimated by fans of quality Counter-Strike everywhere are scratching their heads. Although it does prove to be quite a viewing spectacle when all these anti-ecos happen. So an exciting match for us to cast, but nonetheless it does leave you wondering exactly what the tactics are involved in these NACS rounds where they just seem to not have much control. Desi getting a headshot through the corner of the wagon there. So once again, a pistol round going to enemy, and once again, the second round falling to Winterfox.
It really is a spectator sport, isn't it? Because you could say you never really know what's going to happen in these matches, but it's almost a foregone conclusion that they're going to lose the anti-force buy, as we will now term it.
It's one thing, though, to lose an anti-eco round when you're on overpass. It's another thing to do it on T-side Inferno. It's hard enough getting those rounds as it is. You cannot afford to be throwing away those sorts of rounds. You can see they have force sport here, moving their way very quickly up into the A site, Pete. And given the manner in which eco rounds have been lost, I'll leave it to you to call the action and what will surely be another one going their way.
And whilst Lex gets the first one and Desi gets the second, Kusta's there to pick up Desi, but XP3 lays the pain and lays the smackdown on the diggity side of things, which of course is hut or underneath the headshot pole, as we call it here as well. But obviously, mainline fighting for his life, not really expected to do much from here on in. 9 points of health, and hallelujah, we have been delivered. Winterfox win their anti-eco and look to string 2 rounds together.
Just to clarify, Jim, you're probably well versed, or more so than I am, but whilst we say diggity, in advance, we'd like to clarify, we are referring to quad. What are some of the other names, Jim, that people refer to it?
Hut side.
I believe it's, in earlier iterations of the game, apartment side.
Apartment side, quad, diggity, it's all one and the same
side.
for us. So just to clarify that up front.
Yes. Of course, Diggity being an Australian CS 1.6 player, making that side famous by, I believe there was a box that used to be there in CS 1.6 that he most famously sat behind and clutched in many different situations. So just a little bit of a history lesson for those of you that are wondering why we gave the name Diggity. But in the meantime, XP3 just giving enemy a little bit of a lesson in anti-ecos as he does take down Relics in the second mid there. And they're just holding firm at the top of mid, contesting. And keen to get some SMG bonuses.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't managed to find out about the MP9 yet, what a gun this has turned out to be. Out of all the updates and the quirky guns that have become popular over the time CSGO's been out, the MP9 certainly is one of the most fun to use, having crazy spray jumping accuracy as the T's try and make their way up Nana with no particular structure there, and they go down pretty easily. Winterfox start 3-1, and I know you're a huge fan of the MP9, Jim.
I was going to say, I'm going to chime in on that one there. Funnily enough, the MP9, for those of you that aren't aware, is one of the best guns, not only just in anti-eco situations, but it has the best jumping accuracy, second only to the Scout. So it's up there. And I don't think players have really fully utilised or realised the
Fully
potential.
utilised it. You'd like to see the jumping MP9
I'd love to
come
see a
into
jumping
play.
MP9 become more of a mainstream thing. But nonetheless, a gun round's going here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it can't be any worse than the anti-ecos we're seeing now, as a point of reference. But in saying that, we've got the AKs and the M4s out in force with that AWP going on to XP3. And as we see once again, enemy not really too concerned with getting any map control. And this is a worrying sign of things to come for me. They're not playing particularly aggressively or going out of their way to push through anything at the moment or make their presence felt. They're just sort of content on fighting that mid-pillar area with a couple of smokes and flashes. And now finally they will throw enough flashes up mid to be confident, and lucky 1G will make his way up to the pillars. There's some spam going through both sides of the smoke there, but Winterfox, you can see, not rotating at all, so they're not biting on anything as Kusta runs back to T-spawn with the bomb. And there's a long way to go before, once again, enemies seem a bit lost with 45 seconds to go.
Well, that's right. And with 40 seconds, you can see the nades in hand still for Winterfox. They've got 3 Molotovs, making 4 actually, and a couple of flash grenades as well. So they're just waiting until enemies show some sort of intent, and then they will lay down, as I struggle to get my words out, the bed of fire and make it ever so difficult for enemy.
Yeah, but enemy will choose to take this jungle side or this Ivy side on, and they will get all the way through the tunnel. And XP3 goes down to mainline, and that's through the smoke. But now Desi's in a great position to put some hurt on the jungle side players they run through. But it's going to be good trading here from mainline, managing to pick up a double and get a plant down for his team, or at least he should. Kusta left in carpets, and it's a 2 versus 2, and Floisik needs to be productive here, and he is, while Anger makes his way around, and a good piece of teamwork there by Winterfox, closing that one out and taking a 4-1 lead in this second match of the day in their CounterPit Season 2 series beginner for here for Winterfox.
And they'll be, I dare say, looking back at that anti-eco round enemy and just wondering how they gave it away so easily, because as you can see now they're on the I guess, short end of the stick here with a 4-1 deficit to overcome. Their money situation has forced them to, I guess, go a little bit light in terms of what Relics can offer, but they're really just under the pump here from Winterfox.
Yeah, and as we saw on Overpass, enemy have shown no capacity at all to actually smoke and flash their way into a bomb site effectively with those sets hits, but at the moment they won't need too much of a set play there to take down Flowstick as he's pushed out Banana, but already the rotations have come across to B. So, interestingly enough, enemy have left the whole map completely open other than Banana. So they've gone all in on this B side, and if they want to fall back, it's going to be risky business as we see 2 members of Winterfox slowly making their way down second mid, clearing all this out. So they're pretty much locked in at this point, and one of the CT players is already in T-spawn. This is going to spell trouble for enemy as they slowly make their way up mid.
Oh, mainline there does put out one in his boiler room window there. So Anger, though, and Desi, really, they're finding the frags. That was the man on the alert that you spoke of, and he has got one. The bomb should get planted here. It's actually a fake. I'm not sure why they would in that instance. I mean, you need the cash that it's trying to provide, and it will now go down as lucky. Plugs in the right numbers and gets the bomb down, gets that money bonus. Doesn't have much time left in this world, you can't help but feel. And as Lex and XP3 pounce on the side from all angles, that will be enemy going down again. 5-1 the scoreline will read. And Winterfox, they're just having their number completely. I love those rotations from the A players as they recognised off the pressure and information that their teammates at B were feeding them that it was safe to push second mid, that it was safe to push carpets and get that flank on.
Yeah, worrying signs here as enemy give up pretty much all their map control.
That's it. And the CTs are really starting to get their economy going. Winterfox are really starting to get some bank going. If you look at their money across the board, it is actually quite scary now for enemy, who are sitting, just as a result of those plants, only able to just scratch together some buys. If they don't get a plant on this round, they're really going to be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I love this AWP on XP3 though. He's been putting it to great use this half. We talked about Kusta and his shot with the AWP to go big, but XP3 has been the man rotating nicely between those sites and picking up those flank kills with that AWP and shooting people in the side. So good communication here from Winterfox. That's what that shows. In fact, as now Uber tries to get an entry kill, and he will find his way in. Now on Overpass, enemy did a great job of capitalizing on their kills. And they will force a rotate out here. Desi with an all-important job of now taking control back of these mid-pillars. He's gone into Ninja Corner or Goblin Spawn. This is called a top mid arch side. jungle side,
Fez.
Ivy side. I think Inferno is one of the worst maps in the world for having multiple names for the same choke points. But it looks as though enemy are going to ship up and shape out here on this A bomb side as the smokes and flashes roll into the site. And Kusta takes down Lex. So great entry frag there.
Nonetheless, they are just tempting fate as that AWP narrowly misses a few shots coming out of the library there, but they have finally hit this site. They have taken the bomb and put it in that A site. Now, pressure is on XP3 and Anger to save their weapons because there's no chance of a retake coming in. They're just, I guess, conceded to the fact that they have to try and hide these guns in the B site.
Yeah, key thing to recognise here from enemy as well is the fact that really Winterfox have probably already built up and have built up an economy, so really there's not much to gain by chasing and really playing the risky game of trying to get those weapons out of their hands, particularly given the likelihood and the reality that they are camped out in the B side at the moment, which can be so difficult to retake. Enemy themselves, they really need to just focus on saving these weapons. You can see they're all on the same page in doing so. They will all either evacuate the site or hide in the pit where they will be safe as that bomb now expires. And it will be enemy now, finally getting around on the board as Winterfox had strung to the 5 in a row. They will now move into this second round. It's important that they do keep up that momentum, Pete, and keep on winning ways from an enemy perspective.
Yeah, and you can't help but wonder what would have been an excellent gun round coming out there from enemy, and had they managed to hold on to the 2 anti-ecos, this would have been their 4th round, not their 2nd, and 4's already a decent half to have had on Inferno, so the tide's not going with enemy GG just yet, but I liked their versatility there, getting into that A bomb slide and closing it out. Excellent work there by Kusta as he'll pester in mid once again, but for me, if you're going to lose a round as Winterfox, that was the round to lose, resetting the T's money if they go tit for tat here and they both win and lose a round off the back of each other. So in terms of Winterfox, it's a great chance to break the economy as we see a grenade hit the calf muscle of one of the enemy players. He must have been flexing his calf there to block that grenade. But look, it's all just settled down a bit here, and both teams once again very hesitant to even hit a bomb site.
I was going to say, it is the hardest place to add mass, the calf muscle.
That's true, especially with a grenade. Generally, grenades tend to remove mass from your body, generally speaking, when they go off near you. But that's fine in the context of a computer game. I'm sure the player models will get over it, as now finally enemy decide that it's time with 45 seconds to go to make some sort of inroads to get into a bomb site. But the bomb has been left with 40 seconds to go, completely unattended at the bottom of Banana. I have no idea what enemy GG are doing at the moment. They will try and take the jungle side. And Desi will jump spot 1, and he'll be in a fantastic position to actually take him down. The spray will come in. 1, 2, 3 from Desi. Brilliant play and smoke manipulation there, but the bomb is still down at T-spawn, and that's all she wrote for Lucky. With 3 HP, he'll try and slink away and save his gun and come out of this with only his pride intact. No idea what just happened.
Absolutely no idea what's going to happen. Had Desi not got those 3Ks, let's imagine a scenario in which he had fallen over and not spammed them all down through smoke. They were still... Enemy were in a no man's land. I mean, the bomb in T spawn, no one even nearby. Uber was dropped in B site, so they were in no position to win, even had they got that frag in that sort of situation. And really, just seems like a little bit lost there. I think that should be mainline, making sure. I always have in my mind that the bomb and the positioning and the overall structure of a team going into a round should definitely be being communicated by the in-game leader, in this case, mainline of Team Enemy. And the fact that it's been left behind and clearly no structure in the round gym just reeks to me of something not quite gelling in the team at the moment.
So they are just struggling to stem the flow. As we know, CT side can be difficult if your economy is pressured, but they have actually changed it up a little bit. They're going straight for a fast B hit. Mainline actually picking up some nice entry frags there. We've got Lucky just on the lurk, making sure that Lex has no chance of coming through, and enemy now look to get their 3rd round on the board. It seems to me as though Winterfox are just going to try and save their weapons. Looking at their economy, they're simply going to be able to buy the next round if they do save these weapons quite comfortably, and potentially buy the next round too. So smart decision coming in here, just trying to save that AWP and AK respectively.
Yeah, and I guess from Winterfox's side of things, that is an absolute it is a mistake that you just cannot make on CT side Inferno. Getting caught with your pants down at the B bomb side, just in that base area, in that used to be called generator and source and I guess it was like the entry to the bomb site where there's little stairs. You cannot get caught out there, because if you do, the enemy team often knows that your teammate is in the bomb site. There's very little reason for you to be in that area if your teammate is in the CT spawn side of things. So immediately, once that player gets caught there, Mainline's attention went straight to the bomb site, and he was able to take down the player behind the pond. So a bit of disaster there for Winterfox, but nonetheless, enemy will work into this 10th round, down 6-3. But looking like they're in a decent position. If they win one, maybe two more rounds, it'll be ideal for them, and that'll also reset the money for Winterfox. So a big round coming out here. It's a must-win for both teams in terms of how this half will pan out. And it's going to be on XP3 and Desi to defend this mid-rush.
Yeah, if you look at this setup, you can see that they're well positioned on the jungle side, which is where enemy are going. So Desi doesn't let his mission be known until the last moment, steps out and gets a triple. He gets the fourth. Can he? No, he can't quite do. Lucky does take him down in the end, but oh, the magical triple spray there from Desi. That's not the first time we've said that this half, and the timing could not have been better as XP3, the AWPer, actually went down, and that first exchange going the way of enemy. Great work there and great recovery by Desi and his team.
Yeah, the really troublesome part for me is they had all the money in the world. You need to be, if you're not going to rush up mid and do it at full speed, you need to be throwing a Molotov into that area of the map. There's no excuse. If you're going to use mid at a middle to slow speed, you need to be double grenading that space, Molotoving it out, flashing it out. That guy can only get 1 kill maximum. There's no excuse for that to go down for Winterfox.
That's it. I haven't seen a lineup like that since last map. Because that's how frequently they seem to be happening. It's just becoming, again, once a bit of a trend, but nonetheless, Winterfox stem the flow of enemies' T-side rounds here a little bit, and as you can see, another gun round coming out from both teams here.
Yeah, and I think enemy are just going to once again try to feel this one out as Mainline spots one down, and he will get a shot through the smoke there on XP3. So this is the sort of round that enemy need to win now. For the first time, we've got an AWP up on Kusta, but he's not doing anything particularly imaginative at the moment. He's just posted up there on mid, waiting for one of the Winterfox players to engage him at that top mid area, but as it stands, losing that pick, Winterfox is going to get in all sorts of problems here as once again Uber manages to take down Floisic in that no man's land area at B, and Kusta is able to nail Lex, and now it's going to be all on Desi to once again defend the bomb site, and boy isn't he doing so, picking up a double, but Kusta able to trade now, and a 2 versus 1 unfolds here for Anger to try and win here for his team.
That's it. And he has a bit of work to do. He's made his way onto the site, funnily enough, managing to dodge that scope of Kusta, but they've recognised the fact that he's in there. Kusta doesn't miss. He doesn't need a second shot. And enemy just getting that 4th round on the board, and the economy of Winterfox here is still good enough to buy, despite winning one and then losing.
Look, I don't care how this match pans out. I just want to give a massive shout out again to Mainline. I mean, we spoke about him on Overpass, but again, he's not 8 frags, but the impact of those frags, he is opening up these rounds in which enemy are managing to win. He's the in-game leader, he's the captain of the team. He's doing a fantastic job at the moment of really sparking some life into his troops.
This round right here could be the difference between 11-4 for Winterfox and maybe even going down in the half as they look to push on, but 2 players on $0. Anger and XP3 have 50, and Floisic being able to afford some nice things, maybe a pair of shoes, but not much else at $900. So it's all going to be on Winterfox this round to make this work, because if they don't, they're going to go down 7-5 and then probably be eco the last 2 rounds. So everything relying on Anger there, picking up Uber, who's been so dangerous the last few rounds, entering that B bomb site, and now Winterfox look to take control, but enemy is pretty content on moving their way back towards this B bomb site, and they're going to try and make this work, which is a decent decision. Desi and Alex patrolling that top mid area with 3 players still completely dedicated to A. So the correct read coming out here from enemy, and as smokes and flashes rain over the wall, this should be their way in. The Molotovs go off as well. Kusta with that AWP trying to make it work, but he's got, Relics is able to find Anger with the Molotov, so great round here, and a beautiful push here by Lucky, able to take out one after XP3 hits. So it's a 3 versus 2 situation. Desi and Lex are going to come for it though, so really interesting decision here from Winterfox, or maybe just having second thoughts. Yeah, Desi and his teammates still trying to make this work. They will come for it. And Kusta misses the shot there, so Lex able to find him. Can the CTs make their way in time? Lucky 1G has the scope on. He will pick up the kill. Lex should go down pretty quickly after that as mainline spots him out. And the round should go to enemy regardless of if Lex can find these kills or not. And he will have no time to defuse the bomb. And now Winterfox in all sorts of trouble. Moving into the next round, definitely 2 ecos to finish off the half.
Yeah, to me, really strange decision to be trying to force the issue there in a 2-on-3, trying to retake back the B bomb side, particularly I think when one of the players was actually out of position there with his position known in CT spawn. So I think given another opportunity, they might have opted to save. But I just want to say, watching Winterfox play, I can't think of another team in Australian Counter-Strike or in the limited American Counter-Strike, which we've had the privilege of casting, that I've seen so persistent on their CT side of playing so defensive. It's 2B, 3A every round. It's 2 in pillars. It's 2 in the back of the B side. There's no aggression from them. I can't remember another team in which doesn't mix up their game style as much at this high level.
It does make you wonder what on earth is going on in that gaming house to have them set up in such a way where they have no versatility at all, no ability to adapt to the opposition strategy, as they're just plugging away at the same old thing round after round. And eventually, enemy GG has worked them out and now looks to put the acid on them, finishing off this half, already having 5. Obviously, the investment being so minimal for Winterfox here, you expect enemy GG to just walk it up and make sure that the trading is good. They're finally grouped up somewhere, but once again, this bomb's been left at T-spawn with only a minute to go, and it's not with the pack of 4 players where it should be. Finally, someone notices, and it's probably going to be a mid-hit unless someone can see something I don't. Kusta, beautiful shot there, able to take down Lex. And the spray will come in from the P90 as well. Uber getting pushed on, but already Winterfox able to take down 2 players. So now it's a 3 versus 3, and it's all to do for the Winterfox players.
As he just caught in the crossfire there at the top of mid and simply just picked apart different parts of the map as Kusta finally falls there. And now a 2 versus 3 with that bomb going down the Diggity side of A. They do have decent post-plant positions here, but they are going to be collapsed on as Relics actually takes down 1, and now Anger and Flowstick need to combine a P90 and an AK to try and do the job against Galil and Tech9. Some really sketchy buys here from both teams, as we do see them putting pressure on Relics in that pit, as Flowstick finally finds the man in the site. Does actually pick up the man in the pit as well, but it'll be a race against time to try and get this defused. I do believe he just has it, so that extended bomb time are really allowing the CTs to get into the sites quite easily and just retake.
And we can trace the origins of that loss, unfortunately, right back to the star player, Kusta, who instead of going with his teammates into the Diggity side of the bomb side and making his way into the pit with that AWP and really heavily defending the bomb plant, he stayed in mid pillars where he fought multiple opponents, did get a kill, went down, lost that AWP, lost the round, and you just can't help but think that he would have been able to defend that plant with an AWP in the pit on full HP. So unfortunate mistake there, and it's cost them the round, and who knows, potentially we might be able to draw back to this moment at the end of the game and see that was the root of all evil, as I like to call it.
That's right, you can see it's forced their hand this round where they only have Tech 9s. They do have armor and a few flash grenades, but Uber's just expended the last one, which they had, and spectacularly gets taken down as he launches his way out of the carpet towards the A pit. But this will be a nice clean-up job. Janitor duty for Winterfox there, as they do clean the board. They do have 4 surviving members, and great job for Winterfox there. They have plenty of money to work with as they move into the last round. 1 member will have to drop Lexagun, but apart from that, it'll be enemy having to force the issue, Pete.
Well, my name's not Pete, but I will answer to that. Nonetheless, look, we can look back to that 12th round. That was key. Funnily enough, Winterfox were down and out, struggling. It was all enemies from there on in, but that anti-eco attempt really just allowed Winterfox to gain a new fresh breath, and that second wind has just allowed them to maximise their CT side, whereas potentially they could have, as Pete said, taken an 8-7 beating.
Yeah, disappointment really must be there for enemy at the moment. Really knowing that eco rounds cost them a lot of ground in this game. They could have had 7 T rounds. Instead, they're going to go probably into the half with 5, given the resources that they have at the moment at their disposal. But in saying that, we've seen so many of these crazy rounds unfold. There's nothing to say that Winterfox will be able to defend against the P250, even though they can defend against an AK. It seems to be the trend of today as Uber tries to make his way into B, but he'll give up on that pursuit. And once again, the enemy GG guys will make their way towards that A bomb site and try and make this work for them. And the smokes and flashes will come into the arch side of things, but little commitment being made here to A. So I think this is the first time they're faking A, and they're going to make their way back to B. But Winterfox with that defensive playstyle, completely unfazed. Flowsick throwing a flash. It could be on here. 1, 2. Only 2. As Anger also chimes in with a kill there. And XP3 getting a frag through the smoke. And now it's 4 versus 1, and Mainline is tasked with winning the unwinnable round.
Yeah, you can see, and it proves just that. But I just want to pick up on something you just said. I mean, you throw through the word fake, suggesting an A fake around very loosely there. That is not a fake in my eyes. Against a team of this caliber,
it's attempted fake.
Loosely throwing a couple of grenades towards the top of A mid and then bolting towards B is never going to work. You need to at least show some sort of presence there with a person, getting someone to at least making some noise with their gun, or at least even executing onto the site there. That is, in the heat of a moment, a in-game leader, such as Mainline, panicking and calling his team, who are perhaps not well practiced on faking the A side in this particular circumstance, in that round context, to quickly pull up an A fake together, and that was the best that they could come up with.
So we look at the halftime scoreboard there. Flowsick and Desi really the ones doing a lot of damage on that CT side. Only real resistance, as you said, was coming from Mainline. Those were key frags too. They were impact frags that really opened things up in the round. I can only think of the times that he entered B there, just made things happen, as we see a bit of early aggression from Winterfox here on this banana, and they do simply bink Uber at the top of banana, and will continue to apply a bit of pressure, but in the meantime that bomb has made its way towards the B carpet.
Yeah, Mainline there throwing a nice little pop flash and picking up 1. That's huge for his team, taking down Flowsick. And Desi will lock onto the head, but it'll be a kill going Winterfox's way once again as Lucky stands on that balcony nice and tall. Anger will find his head, so the trading comes in for Winterfox and the bomb will go down. But the question is, can they hold on to this bomb site? Uber's on 4 HP, but Relic's doing a great job there, securing 1, so it's a 2 versus 1 now. If you want 1 man alive for Winterfox, it is Anger, but alternatively, Mainline putting in the work for his team in that massive round, and a brilliant start to the half for enemy GG.
Yeah, I can't understate the importance of that nice kill there by Mainline. I mean, had he gone down, Uber was the last surviving member with 4 HP. He would have found himself next to the bomb. The terrorist would have been well positioned there in the pillars to be able to fake it out, make sure that he wasn't defusing and whatnot. It would have been extremely difficult for Uber to clutch that out. So great frag by Mainline. Jimmy used the words impact frags. That's just what that was.
That's exactly right, and he continues to make those impact frags. As we really can't place a higher premium on him because he's also the in-game leader, so he's effectively playing both roles for his team.
Yeah, and I think at this point, I've mentioned it a couple of times, as we'll just get back to this in a second, as the B-Rush comes in from Winterfox, and it's going to be Uber looking down the barrel from this coil section. He will get 1 before Relics chimes in, and Uber hits a nice headshot to take down the 3rd, so that B-Rush snuffed out without a single point of health being taken from the counter-terrorists. Wildly successful anti-eco, you should be able to say, and I'm pumped about this round for enemy because I think they're about to do the impossible. I think they're about to defend against no grenades and pistols, and I think that they should be able to do it. Can they? They have.
I'm glad you brought the hype to that round because it deserved it.
That's
enemy.
Impressive. That's impressive.
They finally shot down an anti-eco round for the first time tonight and really moved that margin of deficit back closer now. They trailed by 3 rounds, 10-7, but enemy, take a bow, gentlemen. You've done the impossible.
What a stellar performance. The enemy really putting the work in there. It's obviously that's.
I'm out of words.
For an eco round. But look, still a really good sign for them, regardless of how much we troll about their inability to win ecos. Winning 1 will be very good confidence for them, as now the T's in Winterfox now force this buy and try and make this half buy work with the Galil and Tech 9. Nice little grenade there coming out from Lucky out the window, and Kusta's just playing that little bait spot. So a decent setup here, and it'll be important for Kusta here to get 1. He unfortunately doesn't manage to get the kill or the grenade kill, and XP3's made Lucky made him pay, or punished him for hanging around way too long. And the flash will come out. Relics with a spray kill, and also Kusta picking up 1 as well. So it's not panning out here exactly perfectly for Winterfox as the damage rains in and out. Relics is doing a fantastic job of staying alive. He's in full BG mode as he dances around those U-hauls and makes it work for him. Relics, that round is on you, and the last terrorist is stuck up in the castle section. He will go down to Kusta. And that round was all about Relics and his ability to stay alive. And Anger openings, speaking of heat, he's brought it that round. Anger getting that one bullet straight up mid. So see you later, Kusta. The Star Orpa goes down without any resistance to a mere pistol, as it were. So good start here for Winterfox. They're just trying to craft their way in. Actually, Kusta has an AK. So now that's on XP3, and he's going to make this work for him as we see. Definitely Winterfox just uncertain of this mid area. They're walking up. They're taking a lot of precaution. Aware of what Relics did to them last round, being able to stay alive and being so productive from that CT side arch area. But for the moment, they're just going to slow the pace right down and maybe throw in a slight B fake. I like the position here from Desi, just waiting for the opportunity to throw a smoke. Maybe some B pressure coming in here. But I think the read's decent here from Enemy GG. There's 3 players on this A bomb site ready to defend, and it's going to be all on Relics to defend this CT side arch. He will get the first one, so interestingly enough, he gets the second as well. Great piece of control there from Relics, really putting the work in the last 2 rounds and shutting down this A attack. Not before Desi replies swiftly to the head, and now it's a 2 versus 3, but with 25 seconds to go, it's all on Winterfox to make something happen.
That's right, Desi does have the bomb. He will be joined now by Anger as Anger falls back from the B side, but Mainline seeking information, gets afraid as well, gets a second. We spoke about how well he'd been performing tonight and finishes off another round as enemy try and mount that comeback here, but it looked as though for me that perhaps Winterfox were intent on doing a mid to B split, but really I was surprised by the 3 jungle players. I know that Relics ripped 2 of them apart before getting taken down, but they didn't look as though there was the intent there to really charge him. They looked as though they were too casually trying to make their way through the jungle and got picked apart accordingly. Would have liked to see a little bit more intent there from the Winterfox players. You can see Kusta spots out mid, can't see anything, but it looks as though the aggression's coming out here from enemy.
Yeah, love this push from Mainline. He's going to get a pretty good look at the T-ramp player and does get one. So reward for aggression once again coming out here for enemy, pushing up all the way down mid and making life difficult for Winterfox as they've got into a holding pattern, but Lex has caught both Mainline and Kusta completely off guard, and Relics is left to try and defend this bottom banana area as the grenades are going to find him pretty well, and he might actually be burning there. I think he's just out of the Molotov range, so that might actually play in his favor. The T's thinking that Molotov should have got where he was, but it's not going to help him. He goes down, as does Lucky, as Lex makes his way into A. Now there should be a shutout round for enemy, and that was a crazy round for Winterfox so far.
Yeah, Lex doing a lot of damage there. Just simply making that boiler room his own. Picking up the 2 frags, firstly at the trash side of mid, and then picking up someone on the diggity side of A. So, big round from Lex. Great reply, though, to that aggression shown from enemy.
The difficulty there for me was the fact, as we can see Winterfox here just trying to get that last remaining gun out of Uber's hands, was the fact that whilst I love the aggression, we saw Mainline and a few of his teammates pushing down mid, that's great, but because they committed so heavily and pushed so far down mid, when they got that man advantage and tried to fall back, the distance that they had to cover just meant that Lex almost beat them to the top of mid as he went through A apartments. So it was the fact that they pushed down so far, that's why Lex was able to catch them off guard there.
Yeah, I definitely would have liked to see Mainline actually commit to fighting that A-ramp and trying to get a second kill. As you said, he was caught off guard anyway, retreating such a large distance in that situation, trying to get the second kill, and I guess getting a little bit lucky and putting yourself in a situation where you're just spraying and you're getting a lucky kill through the edge of the wall or something. That's a lot better, and going down, doing some damage than ultimately what ended up happening, but 2020 hindsight's a pretty groovy thing as Kusta gets that AWP scope to work in mid, and will try and flush out a terrorist to give him the kill. And a good nade there from the terrorist, and they're going to make their way up banana. Hopefully Uber doesn't feel too heroic at this point, but he does, and he stands there and mans a grenade to his face. So he goes right down to 27 HP, and now Winterfox just wrestling map control away from the enemy guys and getting into a position where it looks like they're going to move back towards mid, I think, Jim.
That's it. They are going to take their time. They already have Lex positioned in that boiler. He did a lot of damage from that same position last round, but looks to be some sort of set execute here on towards the A site. So keen to see what their objectives will be. I believe they're going to try another A wrap here by the looks of things, just the way that they are setting up. So trying to isolate that man on the arch side, and they will run at him here. They do find Kusta through that smoke, and they will continue their charge through. I do believe they're going to let some men try and fake this A site here. They do put pressure on and try and keep these guys in A site. In the meantime, that B pincer is happening and unfolding before us there. I do believe Lex has made his way already to the base of that connector and just waiting on Anger now to try and pressure A.
Yeah, definitely, but the CTs haven't bitten on the fake enemy here, still with 2 players in B, and it's going to be on Lex to try and take one down. He does, and Flowsick also takes one down. I think the turning point in that round was when they took jungle. They actually fought the pit guys. The Winterfox players fought that battle and forced the enemy players to save in the pit.
But you can't underestimate how bold that strategy is. I mean, it's one thing to get that frag and get the drop on Kusta there at jungle, great. A lot of teams, I think, would just charge through Speedway there, collapse on the B side, and I couldn't critique them. But the fact that 2 of those members of Winterfox actually wanted to take that duel in pit and show that presence, I mean, yes, whilst ultimately it forced enemy back and scared them off, it could have ever so easily gone horribly wrong for them had they showed their forward for a little bit too much longer. But great execution. You can only, I guess, read into how it turned out. And in this case, it was wonderful for Winterfox.
Oh, and just unlucky timing there on the flashbang for lucky Flowsick. Coming around the corner at the opportune moment. And now Winterfox take a 12-9 lead with the enemy GG guys probably looking to save on this round. Are they going to save or are they going to force buy? It looks as though they're pod committing to this one here as you see the money disappear before our very eyes. They've got a mismatch of pistols, rifles, and an AWP on Kusta at the moment, who has been kept, you could say, contained over the last 2 maps, not really doing anything special in particular, but nonetheless been producing decently. But he'll look to improve his game towards the back half of this match if enemy GG are any chance of coming back in this one against Winterfox. But once again, Winterfox content with just pervasing the... Pervasing? Is that a word?
No,
I don't think so. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Perusing the map. They're perusing the map. I don't know what pervasing is. Anyway.
A pervasive approach.
Pervasive approach, that's it. But
nonetheless, they are just taking their time, really cleaning things out. This force bite from enemy is more so as a result, I'd say, to try and stem how far Winterfox are trying to get ahead. They're really perhaps now out of ideas, just feeling that Winterfox are getting the upper hand. Another eco would simply see them not able to come back from this deficit, but they are going to try something a little bit similar in strategy. They do pick up mainline there at the top of the Kogu as Desi simply pivots on a dime and finds that second frag as well. So a lot of resistance being given here at the top of A. Kusta finds a frag there at Diggity and will be pressured again by another member of Winterfox. But in the meantime, that bomb is just ticking back around towards that B site.
Yeah, and it's going to be all on Uber here to try and defend this 4 versus 1. He's got the position to make something happen. Can he do it? He cannot do it. Flowsick going down, but XP3 effectively trading on there. And now the star player, Kusta, is not even going to be interested in this map. He's interested in this round, should I say. He's definitely interested in the map. The round, however, he's lost all interest in. He's making his way towards T-spawn to make sure he holds on to that AWP. But he does miss that shot on Anger, and now he's in a world of pain because they know exactly where he is, and he's only on 43 HP. So he's going to be in a tough situation here where Anger will pursue him and try and get that kill. But he's going to be dancing around this pole back and forward, and it looks as though that was going to connect. But Kusta unable to perform any sort of anger management there, missing the kill. And Lex taking him down.
I know we always talk about the timing that teams have, and really in Counter-Strike, seconds or milliseconds here and there can make the difference, but the execution that Winterfox just did at the top of mid there, I know Desi was great in terms of his ability to turn on a dime, as you pointed, Jim, but they caught mainline off guard. They're looking into the wall, trying to avoid a flash as those smokes were popping up, and that opening frag that they really got without any sort of exchange set them up well. Great work there by the team. You can see now they're in a really strong position. Enemy forced to eco, just a couple of pistols in hand. Having said that, Uber's got 1 frag, but Flowsick's quickly equaled the ledger there.
Yeah, and troublesome around here. Kusta, what a position to be in. He needs to act now, and he needs to make the frag. Unfortunately, the star player of enemy GG whiffs, and that's not something that he'd be proud of in that moment. He'd preferred to have converted that to a headshot, but unfortunately not able to get even one, let alone the two players that his position warranted him at least trying to get. But it's Desi there defending that window area, and Mainline's going to jump out there and meet death. Stare that one in the face for this round. And Winterfox, we gave enemy all the credit in the world for defending their anti-eco, but crucially here for Kusta, he's managed to find an AWP, so this could be interesting. I have no idea where he's going for this now. Surely you just save that AWP and live to fight another day. And
should have saved that AWP.
Should have saved that. Wow.
Should have saved that AWP.
I mean, you've got an AWP, you've got 20 HP, it's a 3 versus 1 with the bomb about to go down, and now in this round he has to buy an AWP, which means that if they lose this round, he's completely cooked. So,
well, not just that, Jim. He's got glass cannon.
Yeah, well, I was going to say not only that, but potentially a lot of match points to try and defend if they if things don't go their way this round, and that monetary bonus would have certainly helped. But nonetheless, we see the same sort of round starters coming out from Winterfox here. Enemy again, just content to play a little bit more passive once they got their Grens off. So Winterfox just setting up their round here nice and slowly. As Kusta picks up that frag in mid and just doing what we almost expected him to do, just taking those peaks and really trying to make things happen.
Yeah, and for me, that's the first time that he's not only got an AWP, but fought like that, opening himself up to mid and trying to make it work with an AWP. He's done it a few times with a rifle, but he's made it work there, and he's got a great angle here. He's just biding his time, and that will be Lex going down. 2 kills so far for Kusta as they will attack the quad side of the A bomb side, and throwing a couple of counter flashes there is Kusta, making this A hold work for him. But by the looks of things, the bomb's still down at the bottom of Banana, so terrorists in Winterfox not committing to anything just yet. They're content with giving Kusta his couple of kills. As I get mixed up between Flowsick and Kusta once again. Flowsick taking down Kusta, and also Lucky, and now Anger's taking down Uber. So in the space of just a few seconds, this round's turned on its head for enemy GG, and now it's a 2 versus 2, and this is a must-win round for enemy, Nick.
Well, that's right. I mean, they can't afford to really get match points away to Winterfox. You can see that they are in a 2-on-2 situation. The bomb in the hands at the moment of Anger. He's made his way up mid. He will rejoin Flowsick in the A side, and they're aware of Mainline's presence there in the A apartments. But you can see the pressure being applied from all angles, but it doesn't make a difference. Anger, Flowsick, they all chime in with one, and all of a sudden, enemy self-destruct and throw away that round.
That's, yeah.
That's pressure.
That's lack of not choking, I think. They needed to not choke that round. You've got 5 versus 3 in a must-win round when you've got Kusta with the AWP. And in the last 2 rounds, we've seen some pretty average Counter-Strike coming out from enemy. So unfortunately for them, not able to close those rounds out like they should have. And I mean, I did say earlier that we might look back on Kusta's mid-decision where he pushed pillars with the AWP and went down. That literally has changed the course of the game, as well as that anti-eco loss. So enemy, they were in a great position to win this game, and Winterfox taking it away from them. And surely enemy must be thinking here on game point as it looms that this could be the one that got away.
They will execute, though, onto this B site, and enemy will be tested, perhaps for the last time, as those Molotovs simply just force them to play in positions that are blocked by these smokes. So they are streaming onto this site. The bomb is making its way through connector there. Great little boost into the side, actually, picking up one, and now a lot of work to do for the remaining members of enemy. As you can see, they are making their way through CT. A lot of pressure being placed on these guys with match points to defend. They are going to make their way through the connector there, and now we see Lucky and Mainline. Mainline is going to need to channel all the energy that he is remaining, as he's been monumental for these guys across the course of the BO2, but unfortunately that's it. Say no more as Lucky falls through that smoke. Winterfox take this second map into best of 2. 1-1 is the score, and they will share the points this evening.
Well, I just want to say, I mean, we spoke pre-game about the tendency from what we've seen from American teams to bounce back from losses, especially in this BO2 circumstances, and hats off to Winterfox. Incredible play from those guys. Really impressed with how they did just that. Desi in particular had some insane rounds on that CT side where he was getting triple kills seemingly at will. I can think of at least 2 or 3 rounds in which he did just that, but in the end, it just looked as though enemy were just. I mean, I know that they got ecoed in the first half, but even in that sort of gun rounds in the mid to late round scenario, they just looked out of place. They didn't have the set executes that you'd need on a map like Inferno to be able to take control of those bomb sites, very much reliant on their aim, whereas Winterfox, definitely in the mid-round situation on their T side, by contrast, looked much more calm. The composure was there, and they were just making those pick-off frags.
I think the strategy there from enemy GG was fine on that first half, especially. They should have gone into that CT half winning 7 T rounds, which should have been plenty for them to finish off for me. If unfortunately, with the kind of tags like superstar and star player that we throw out to players like Kusto, who have such a heavy impact, the flip side of that is when they don't fire, a lot of the blame has to fall squarely on their shoulders. And unfortunately, we're able to isolate a number of rounds there where Kusta, there was the no save at B with that AWP, and then he had to glass cannon, and then that left him no money for the last round where essentially could have got 2 AWPs in a row and changed the outcome. The round where he was in pillars, unable to connect, and then eventually going down without being in the pit. And a couple of other instances there where unfortunately the star player has let his team down. And it's important to mention these times because whilst their position comes with all the praise and they get their teammates enabling them so much, when they doesn't go their way, they also have to take the lion's share of the blame and make it work for them a bit better.